Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1.
It makes me want to hug these guys and kiss them.
It is that time again to take our seats here in the studio and welcome each and every one of you aboard the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and you, my friends, can be a happy camper too. Daniel, how was your week?
It was okay.
Good. What have you been up to? I haven't seen much of you since the new year rang in.
I was a little sick.
A little sick?
Yeah.
That'll put you in the hole, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Is your wife taking good care of you?
She got sick too.
And I invited you over here. You're better now, right?
Sure, why not?
Thank
We'll
heavens
see.
you're about 6 feet away from me. If anybody can vision this, yeah, Daniel is I don't trust him.
Wow.
But anyway, hey, it's good to have you back, and we welcome each and every one of our listeners into 2015. We've got a lot of great shows lined up for this year. Daniel, I have a very good reason to be happy, and I think you do too.
Okay.
Have you checked out gas prices lately?
They're low. I saw under $2 today for the first time.
I love it. Yes,
Yep.
in fact, I just posted a picture on our Facebook page of a local gas station where unleaded gasoline is down to $1.98 a gallon.
Yep. Well, it must have been that Shell up the way.
Now, Daniel, I want to point out, even though I'm very excited about this, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Okay.
Because I don't expect gas prices to remain this low very long. And I'll tell you why. Because as we celebrate being able to keep more of our hard-earned money in our pockets, there are plenty of greedy politicians who are looking for ways to raise the gasoline tax. And when that happens, you know what's going to happen at the pump.
Yep.
They're going to go back up. I'm not saying all politicians are like that, but many are.
Yep.
Anyway, I bring this up because with gas prices being as low as they are, this would be an excellent opportunity for people to pack their camping gear into their vehicles, load the kids up into the car, and find a place to go camping this weekend.
It makes it a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and it makes a whole lot of sense, too. I do understand that we are now in early January, and a lot of places right now, the temperatures are bitterly cold. It's going down into the teens where we're at tonight.
Yes, it is.
Not everybody is into wintertime camping like me, but with gas prices this low, what is so wrong with finding a place to go to in the mountains and renting a cabin for the weekend?
Yeah.
You're into the cabin thing.
There you go.
You're into the hot tubs and
There you
all
go.
the other
Exactly.
stuff. All right, so it can be done.
It can.
Take advantage of those opportunities. But anyway, we're glad to have you on board here, the Happy Camper Radio Show. Our phone number is 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to circles on Google+, and subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. Very easy to do. Every one of our social media icons can be found on our website at www.happycamperradio.com. You'll find them all in the right-hand side of the page. Just look for them there and just click on them. Especially the YouTube button. All you got to do is hit that button and you subscribe. It's free of charge. Let's head over to the shout-out window, Daniel. Yeah, we've got a lot of folks here who signed on. First of all, we want to say hello to Dustin and Missy Clark, who liked us on Facebook, to Robert Wiltshire of the UK, Scott Snyder of West Virginia, Williamsburg KOA in Williamsburg, Virginia, Tips for Camping, TentEquip.com, eSurvival.com, to Addie, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park hiker, and Tochican Campground in Quakerstown, Pennsylvania. They're all following us on Twitter, and we also want to say hello to Albert Gomez, who subscribed to us on YouTube. Thank you all so very much for joining us and being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Glad to have each and every one of you on board. Daniel, we're going to do something a little different today.
Ooh.
You and I have talked on a number of occasions about what it would be like to be a full-time camper. I know you've got your little pop-up. I've got my tent, which
Yep.
I mean, I would have to graduate to something a little more bigger than a pop-up if I was going to go camping full time.
Right.
But some people do it.
Uh-huh.
We are going to talk today on the show with somebody who, along with her husband, is a full-time camper.
All right.
And let's go to the phones and talk to her right now. And we have on the phone with us from Texas. She is camping full-time with her husband. She is better known as the camper's wife. We are so happy to have you on board. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This has been an interesting topic off the air between Daniel and I. We've often talked about camping full-time somewhere down the road. We don't know if we'll ever do it or not, but we are just totally fascinated by it. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners feel the same. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're originally from.
I am actually from a small town called Lexington, North Carolina. We started doing this. I did it in 2013. My husband started in 2012. He started out in a little 21-footer pull-along. Then we ended up buying a 31-footer, and then in February of 2014, we upgraded to a 37-footer.
Wow. All right. So how was that working out for you?
Well, the 31-footer, we loved it, but it was kind of, let's just say, a lemon. So we had a lot of issues with it, and it was a learning experience. It's kind of why I started my blog.
Now,
And when we got the 37-footer, I absolutely love it. But I said, now we're in the process of even searching for something bigger since we've got a child on the way.
well, congratulations. Now,
Thank
I know
you.
you were saying that your husband got started in this before you did. Is this something the two of you have planned on doing for some time?
Yeah, we actually look at doing this probably for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
His nature of work being in construction, sometimes we will be somewhere for, you might say a year, sometimes 7 years. But at any given time, depending on what they need him for, they could say, hey, we need you to move tomorrow.
Okay. Now,
So it's kind of nice just having the ability to pull in your slides, secure everything, and just go.
okay, so you say you have a fifth wheel. In other words, you're pulling it with another vehicle. I'm assuming that's going to be a pretty big pickup truck. You're able to park that and get around to other places, say if you want to run to the grocery store or maybe even just taking a movie wherever you're at. You can do that very easily, correct?
Oh, yeah, we have my car as well.
All right. What have you done to prepare yourself for this journey?
It was mainly a leap of faith. When I married my husband, I knew what I was getting into, and the hardest thing I had to deal with was a lot of controversy from friends and family. That was the hardest part. It's like, why don't you just buy a house if you're going to be somewhere, or why don't you rent an apartment? And those are great ideas, but at the same time, I didn't want to have to rent furniture or even buy furniture. And at first, I kind of hated living in an RV because it's small, and you really have to cut down on a lot of things you own. But then once I got used to it, it was so awesome because I come inside and it's like, this is mine. Nobody else can come in here. I don't have to worry about somebody else having another set of keys or anything. You have that peace of mind, and I love that feeling.
I totally understand it. I can see where family can be a big obstacle, especially if you're very close to your family because they want you close by and never knowing where you're going to be at any given time because you're traveling and you're out and away from them. Yeah, that can be a big problem, I understand.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I know you use the internet quite a bit, don't you, while you're traveling?
I do.
Okay. Has this made your traveling a lot easier?
Yes and no. The first campground we lived at in Roxborough, North Carolina, it was what they call a gridlocked area. So if you didn't have AT&T, you were basically out of luck. T-Mobile wouldn't work, Verizon, Sprint, nothing. And up there, it was even difficult for AT&T to even work because of all the lakes surrounding the area.
Do you run into some problems in your travels where you're in isolated areas where you do not have internet service available?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I can understand. And today, in the fast-paced electronic age, folks are all over the internet. People use it for their banking. They use it for their travel plans. And I imagine if you're going from campground to campground that you probably do some research ahead of time looking to see where you're going to be next.
Yeah, when we knew we had to move down here towards on the outside of Houston, most of the campgrounds when we were calling in late March, early April, a lot of them were booked up because I guess some big rodeo going on. I'm not familiar with what was going on at the time. But the campground we're currently in, there's two more right down the road within a 2-mile radius of where we're at. And between all three of them, there's probably 500 sites, and 99% of them are booked.
Wow. Is that year-round?
Just about. This campground that we're in alone has 150, give or take, and I think you might come in and find less than 20 sites available.
Now, being a full-time camper, how do you go about getting mail delivered to your packages?
It's not the easiest. A lot of people look for campgrounds with like your nice amenities, a swimming pool or other different things. The ones that I mainly look for are ones that have like a mailbox location on site. And luckily, this one had two of the things that I really needed. It has a laundromat on site, and it also has your own private mailbox.
How long?
And that is really, really convenient.
How long have you been at this site already?
Let's see. This is January 8, 9 months.
Okay. All right. Do you own any pets?
Yes.
All right. And do they travel comfortably with you?
Yes. I have a very spoiled, rotten kitty cat named Boomer.
Oh,
he's up in the bed
my
asleep right now.
Okay.
But we actually put him on a leash and a harness, and when we have to travel, he sits in the front seat with us.
This is one of the biggest obstacles of Daniel and I ever going out and going full-time on the road, because we are a multi-pet household, both of us. And we have a lot of pets. We've taken in quite a few that needed homes, and we're so attached to them. I always wondered how cats would travel as opposed to dogs. I know dogs are you got to look after them a little more than cats, because cats are pretty independent in and amongst themselves. But does your cat travel pretty well with you?
Yeah, we started when we got Boomer in December of 2013, and he was very, very young, and we ended up having to move in April 2014. So he was already kind of accustomed to moving, because I actually drove 3 hours to adopt him, believe it or not.
It sounds like my first cat that I adopted. I went through tremendous lengths and hoops and everything, and I jumped through quite a few of them to adopt him. And I've had him now for a little more than 12 years. Wouldn't part with him for the world.
Yeah, we lost 2 last year, and it was really, really hard.
Oh,
One
I'm
of
so
them
sorry.
it's okay. One was 10, and the other one was 7. And the other one, he was just old. But my youngest one, Bella, she passed away. She had cancer in her stomach, and it was just too far gone. So we just kind of let her live out her days just as happy as she could be.
Okay. Do you have a home or a permanent residence?
No, we do this full time. There's no other option.
Okay. Yeah, some people do maintain a permanent residence that maybe they will go back to when the weather gets bad or the weather gets ugly, and then when it warms up, they go back out. But yes, some people, they do sell their home and the contents and everything in it, and invest it into a motor home or a trailer or what have you, and go out and venture out on the road just like you're doing.
We would love to own a house one day, but in this economy and in this society, it's really unpredictable. And I said, down here in Texas, what they charge for houses is absolutely insane. You're looking at, I think the cheapest we've seen just in the Houston is like $600,000 to $700,000.
That is very expensive. That's a little out of my price range.
Yeah, it's a whole lot out of my price range. When you look at where I'm from in North Carolina, and you can buy the same house for like $138,000, it's kind of a sticker shock.
And one of the nice things about being a full-time camper, and we've talked about this on the show before, is when you own a motorhome or a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, or whatever you're camping in, you don't have those annual property taxes which could eat you alive. You don't have school taxes to pay. So, there's some benefits to camping full-time and being out on the road full-time versus owning a home where you're going to be bogged down with those extra expenses.
Yeah, you have your pros and cons. When we moved to Texas, one of the things we did have to do was register all of our vehicles in the state of Texas, because if you're living down here and you're going to be doing it more than, I think it's 60 days, you are required by Texas law to get a Texas driver's license and registration.
How does that affect a lot of the other people who may be traveling in the state? Are they going to be bound by those same regulations, even though they may be mobile and be planning on traveling throughout the 50 states? If they're there for an extended period of time, they're going to be required to get license plates and a driver's license in that state?
I really don't know. Every state is different when it comes to cracking down on things. We took a chance just because we've had a couple run-ins with the law, mainly because when we had North Carolina plates, it looks very, very suspicious. You know, you're 20 hours away from your hometown. It's like, why are you here? Most everybody that's down here, I think they actually go ahead and get the Texas information, because the cops down here, they are very picky, and they will give you a ticket and citation if you do not have proper documentation. Unless you can prove otherwise, that would be the only thing. But from what we've seen down here and from what everybody's told us, follow the law in Texas.
Okay. Do you plan on staying at any given place for a minimum or a maximum period of time before moving on somewhere else?
It varies. I think we're supposed to be down here for 2 to 3 years, but that may be changing sometime in the next couple of weeks.
How did the holidays work out for you, Thanksgiving and Christmas in particular?
Thanksgiving, we were lucky enough to have enough time off from my husband's job, and we went to Tennessee to go see his parents, and they threw us a baby shower with Thanksgiving, which was great. Christmas, I really wanted to go back home to North Carolina and see my parents, but being so far along in my pregnancy now, I can't really travel too long, so we basically did some remodeling. We took out the living room couch, put in a Christmas tree, and then we started working on the nursery.
Now, I'm sure that you have ties with other campers in your campground. Have a lot of them stayed there during Thanksgiving and Christmas and camped out?
Yeah, most people down here don't really have anywhere else to go. It's sad at the same time that it is happy. Like the guy that lives next door to me, he is one of the sweetest old men you'll ever meet. But he's an old war veteran, and his story is really sad because he lost his house due to foreclosure, and, you know, here he is, he's got a nice boat and all these nice things, but they don't really have anywhere else to go, so they're kind of like us when bad weather rolls in. You basically sit there and grin it.
I understand that. Have you come across a lot of full-time campers in your travels?
Yes.
How are they enjoying it?
Most everybody enjoys it just the same as anybody with a house. You find ways to keep yourself occupied, and like our good friends in North Carolina, they had a 31-footer, what is it? It was a Fleetwood Prowler. I think that's who makes it. Well, they spent a lot of time remodeling theirs, and you would never thought it was 14 years old. The inside was immaculate. Most people, I mean, it's really no different than living in like a mobile home or condo. You just have more peace of mind and you have more options available. That's the way I see the full-timing life. It's just the fact that we're not held down by a lease or contract or any other little annoyances in life.
In the world of full-time camping, I have done some research on this and seen a lot of different stories online. There are some people who actually volunteer at campgrounds in exchange for their stay, and they do this seasonally, and they're out there for, several months at a time, and this really helps both the camper and the campground owner in getting what needs to be done accomplished.
Yeah, I have read stories. There is a group on Facebook called Full-Timer RVs, and a lot of people have mentioned that they actually do that. I have never heard about it, but then again, we pick kind of very low-level campgrounds. I mean, where we're at now, I can't really complain because we only pay $240 a month in rent plus electricity. So it's not like they really have a high demand for somebody to be on site taking in new campers because it's rare that we get them. Most of what you find in Texas, in all honesty, is you're going to find construction workers. And most of them are not going to move probably for, let's say, 6 months to on up to a year.
That's one of the things that the dealer told me when I bought my truck camper. He says this type of camper, it fits on a half-ton pickup truck, and a lot of people in the construction business buy them, especially if they're going to be mobile and they're going to be transporting from one job to the other. And that works out real great for them because they've got a shower, they got a bathroom, they've got a kitchen, and just about all the comforts of home except for a washer and dryer. So those work out very well, too, for some people, especially those who are still working. There are some people who are retired and living full-time on the road, I know, that do engage in the campground hosting activities that some campgrounds do look for. Being the fact that you are so close with some of these campers, do you find it difficult in parting ways when it's time for you to pick up and venture on to someplace else?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. The people that we left back home in North Carolina, we had a lot of fun with them, mainly because when our sewer system and the coachman blew up, they were there with us, just kind of laughing and helping us ease the pain. And a lot of us, you become a big, close-knit family, because most of these people you'll meet again. And I'm sure the people back home, we'll probably see them again here probably in another year or so, because it's the nature of the business. But we still talk via Messenger and Skype, and we'll talk about different things we've done in each other campers. Now, you also have those people that you're kind of glad to be gone from.
Okay, I understand that.
You know,
there can be some campers. They're few and far apart, but they don't make good neighbors, even if you're camping next to them.
Well, you know, I did a blog a few weeks ago about neighbors, and the old man that lives next to me, he is so sweet, but at the same time, he can kind of get under my skin because he has a boat, and during last June and July, 6 o'clock in the morning, he'd be sitting up there in his boat just revving up the engine, and of course, his boat is right there where my bedroom slide-out is. And I'm thinking, oh, please stop.
That's your 6 a.m. alarm clock that you do not want.
Apparently.
For the folks that you have gotten to know in the world of camping that you had to part ways with, and it's good to know that you're going to run into them again someday. In the meantime, do you make it a point to stay in touch with them to see what they're doing and what part of the country they may be venturing into?
Oh, yeah. We even send each other gifts. Some of my friends, they sent us out a garden gnome, and there's something about garden gnomes I just absolutely despise, and they hate knickknacks, so we sent them a box full of just magnets and little knickknacks, and we crack up about it because it's our way of communicating and just showing that we care about each other in a very I hate you type of way type thing, but it's kind of what keeps things going. A lot of the time we talk via phone. But once again, back home, it's kind of hard to talk to them because their cell reception it's bad. Like I said, if you don't have AT&T back there, you just ain't making no phone calls.
Yeah, the major metropolitan internet connection is not going to be everywhere, especially out in the wilderness.
No, but at the same time, that's what people love.
You know, and I understand that, too. Some people would just rather be out there enjoying what nature has in front of them and not be glued to a television set, a radio, CB radio, and some people still use that, especially the truckers, and in some cases, the internet. You know, it's good to have. It's a necessity to have these days, but, you know, it takes away from your time enjoying what is out here for us to enjoy.
The coolest thing you would see out there is the deer. You would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you could go outside, and in front of all the RVs, it's like a row of deer just standing there eating. And
they come out of nowhere. You know, I would love to see the deer, but not hear the boat motor at 6 a.m.
Yeah, you kind of give or take. Out here we live in the country part of Texas, so we've got cows, and last night we had this hoot owl, and he was about to drive me crazy. And I said it was like world domination was going on between the owls and the cows last night. It was the craziest thing to listen to.
What advice do you have for anybody who wants to take on camping full time? what would you say to somebody who came up to you and says, hey, this is what I want to do?
The biggest thing that I tell people is if you're going to do this life, you can never, ever thoroughly be prepared for everything that will happen. Because like in life, it's unpredictable. The biggest thing is if you're going to buy a camper, make sure you go in and sit down in it and picture all your stuff in it. You know, make sure it's something that you can haul with your truck. It's something that you can see yourself living in and putting up with. Those are the key things that I think most people underestimate is they just don't really, they're like, oh, this is cool. But when you go in and you sit down, you have to see your stuff visually sitting there. And that's a huge ordeal because you never really know how much stuff you have until you have to start moving it into, say, from a 2-bedroom apartment to a 37-foot camper. You really learn how to downsize and appreciate. And as people go along, you know, you will find ways to make more space. And that's another key issue there is that extra space. But the biggest thing is don't go beyond in debt just to have something brand new. Because just because something is brand new doesn't mean it won't have the same problems as something that's 5 or 10 years old.
I have always said that if I decided to go full-time camping and I get myself a nice RV or motorhome, before I start hauling anything inside of it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to step inside and say, where am I going to put the studio? That's going to be a first and foremost thing. And I don't think the studio that we have would fit even in one of the fanciest motorhomes there are. It would probably have to be custom built. And listen, thank you so very much for calling the show today and talking to us. We are speaking with the camper's wife. She is in Texas with her husband. She is a full-time camper and loving every minute of it. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to hearing the podcast next week.
Well, what do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yes, I really enjoyed talking to her. The camper's wife, she is in Texas with her husband, and she seems very, very excited about what she's doing and enjoying the camping life. Like I was saying to her, the difficult part would be finding a place in the camper for the studio.
Right.
Daniel.
Yes.
We have folks who want to be on the show, and they can very easily do that by giving you and I a call or emailing us. They can start by emailing me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
And by all means, just let us know what you would like to talk about in the world of camping. Anything is open, so feel free to get in touch with us or give us a call on our hotline at 404-537-CAMP. That's 404-537-2267. The phone answers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Daniel, with the gas prices being low like they are, this would be a great time to travel to warmer climates.
It would.
And this week, we're going to go to the state of Florida, where the sun is shining, and the temperatures down there right now at this particular campground, Daniel, let me take a look and see. Whoa! The highs are in the 80s today.
Oh, my gosh.
I feel jealous.
Yes, I'm jealous,
Oh, my heavens. Low tonight's going to be 49, but that's still great camping weather. We are talking about Monument Lake Campground. It is located in Florida, part of the Big Cypress National Preserve, run by the National Park Service. Monument Lake Campground is a beautiful place where visitors can enjoy the surrounding preserve while sitting at their picnic table. Visitors may enjoy nearby activities such as fishing, hiking through the preserve, and exploring the many boardwalks. The RV campground is offering many opportunities. Each campsite is open with limited or no shade. And who would complain this time of the year with the sun beating down on them? Especially if you had to come back home to like where we're at.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, you would take that sun in and enjoy every single moment of it. It's a great place to go camping, and it's going to be on our website all week long. Check out some of their amenities and activities and a lot of the great photographs that's on their website. You can access us by going to our homepage, www.happycamperradio.com. This week, and clicking on the featured campground button on the right of the page. Some of the things you need to know before you go: there are no fire rings or grills at the RV sites, but camping is one of those activities. Pets must remain on a leash. I love the fact that this is a pet-friendly campground. A lot of them are today.
Yeah.
Some of the other things they have there: drinking water, fishing, vault toilets, a campground host. That's so very important. And all the information is right there on their website. It's the Monument Lake Campground in Florida, and it is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And once again, if you have a campground that you would like to feature on the program, get in touch with Daniel and I. Our contact information again: Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
And make sure you send us a link to the campground website. Well, Daniel, that's about going to wrap things up for us here on the show today. You look like you're ready to go back to bed. I don't think you're 100% recuperated.
Oh, boy.
But anyway, hey, it's better than being sick and sleeping in your tent and being stuck in your sleeping bag when you should be out having fun.
There you go.
So get yourself better. Go see the doctor. The doctor knows best. I've got an apple for you. He's going to give you one anyway as a prescription.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it's great having you along. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to us on YouTube. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel is a happy camper. And you, my friends, can be a happy camper too. We'll catch you next week. This is Happy Camper Radio.